traditional campus. I've only been doing that for like 5 or 6 years, and essentially my full-time job has been since '02, '03, so it's at like 13, 14 years. I've been essentially what the campus has had as a campus pastor. I've been the director of campus ministries for all of that time. So I was a student once upon a time from '96 to 2000. So essentially I've been a part of the Warner community for 20 years. I took interpersonal communications class.
Nice.
I remember
that was like a million years ago for you, right?
it was a million years ago.
So you graduated from here then?
I graduated from the traditional program in 2000, came back as essentially the campus pastor in '02, and have been doing that ever since. I've been teaching in the adult degree program for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, because there's a faculty member, if you haven't met, you will. He's incredible. His name's Bill DeBrennan. Mr. Bill is what everybody affectionately calls him. He said one time in a meeting, if everybody who works on our traditional campus would teach one class a year over in our adult degree program, it would do wonders for the culture of both programs. So I thought that was a great idea. I came home, asked my wife, can I work nights 5 weeks? And she said yes.
You cannot.
And so it's been great because I get in all sorts of, in my role within the wider institution, I get in conversations all the time about, well, the adult degree program this, traditional program that, and so it helps me to have a context for a lot of those conversations. It's one of the most fun things I do with my years teaching in the adult degree program, the Religion 320 class, because like the interpersonal communications class, it's one of those classes that asks for your soul. It also asks for a lot of work. It is a ton of work, and students tell me it's more work than we do in every other class, and so it's that mix of both like really high academic work with really high like soul work at the same time. And I tell students from jump, like, this class is going to take over your life for 5 weeks. I'm sorry, I'm just teaching it. I didn't write it, although I know the woman who wrote it. She's awesome, and I trust her. And so I just tell people right off the bat, like, start canceling your weekend plans. Like, we're just going to do this together for 5 weeks, and it's nuts.
Is that
but
one
it's
of
great.
the classes
It is.
too?
It's required in the bachelor's.
That's for the bachelor's.
I might have you.
That's why I don't have it, because I'm just doing AA.
Yeah,
I have
so-
you too.
So all of you who are in the AA, I was going to ask who's going to go along to the bachelor's degree.
I don't know.
And
Maybe.
so you'll get this Religion 320 spirituality, character, and service.
Cool.
So
Sounds amazing, though.
it's a lot of fun.
Sounds
It's a lot of meaning and purpose. What's a call on your life? The last class I taught, two of the ladies came out and basically said, I needed this class at this time because it reminded me why I was doing this in the first place. Like, it reminded me why I was coming to college in the first place. Like, you often start out with this sense of meaning and purpose. I want to engage, this type of vulnerable community for the sake of the world. I want to do this type of good in the world. And then you get into written communications too. And and after a couple of years of that, you're like, you forget sort of why that is. And so we built into the curriculum a class that kind of reminds you of why you want to do this. And for us, it's no secret that's a religion class. That's primarily a class that is associated with the Christ-centered commitment of the college. We want to have that meaning and purpose be a piece of your program, but also come back to some of our core convictions as a college. So I don't know if that was too much or that. I think that addresses a couple of different questions. But
Yeah, it was perfect.
so I'll go back. That was just my intro. I could do this all night.
So
Took
you're
your way
saying
through.
if
I
you
thought- I'm
could
trying
go
to take
back, you
notes.
would not do it different. You would say go the same route.
Which parts?
So like if you would go back to doing what interests you, would you choose the same path?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. There were some factors that bound me to different, like there were some factors that bound me to Portland. There's some of my educational path I would have done different, but I think I was bound to Warner and Portland, and I couldn't just like leave and go to Denver for my doctorate or something like that. But for the most part, I think, I think I have to wake up every morning and do something I care about with people I care about, and so I think as long as I'm doing that, I think I'm good.
So what did you do before Warner?
I was much. I was a student. I essentially Warner has been, since I was 19, I've been basically, Warner has been a large part of my life. And so I think it like taught me how to think and taught me how to be the person I am, and so it's been the great irony in my life that I get to be a pastor in the community and teach in the community, because my education years really filled in a lot of gaps in my own development, I came to Warner not being able to, the Bible professor, if you're going to have him, teaches a Bible's literature class, which is in your Associates of Arts program.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Steve Carver. I hope you get him. There's a lot of people that teach it, but I hope you get Steve Carver. He sat me down and said, basically, if you're going to get through college, you've got to go buy an 8th grade English textbook. And it was like, and here I am, like, I'm 20 years old, and I'm like, what do you mean I got to go buy an 8th grade English textbook? But in 4 years of high school, I never read a book, wrote a paper, and so this community helped me to like come from behind educationally, and brought me up, and so there were some, so Warner really was a place that like nourished me, and then it's been great to be a chance to sort of make my career of it.
I have a question that's outside of these questions. You say you're a campus pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Does this campus provide like a service, like like a Sunday service?
Yeah,
or is that what you're
Tuesday and
doing?
Thursdays.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a chapel service Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
I had direct oversight of it for, I think, 9 years or so, and then I've worked as a director of it with other folks who do some of that the last 5 years. But it's Tuesday, Thursday, 10 a.m. I send my chapel addresses. I speak in chapel 5 times a semester or something.
And he's great.
I send him to
I
Christy.
have some. If you'd
I send
like
him to
see
Christy,
one.
and she actually
Really?
listens to him. She
You
watches
called
them on
You call
YouTube.
me Christy. That's so weird.
That's so
Um,
funny.
And she actually listens to him. I'm so touched that she listens to him.
Not just
Aw.
me, but Bryson does
I know.
too.
Her voice listens to him.
We sit in my room, we watch him.
I know. It's so crazy. So yeah, we do two a week, and
Okay.
there's this wonderful woman named Michelle, and she and I are kind of the team.
So
What else is on there?
there's a lot of questions about like your class.
Yeah, we can talk about the class.
Okay, so what are your reading, writing requirements in your classes that you teach?
Yeah, the particular class I teach over here is the students, and I don't have a lot to compare it to, but the students say it's a bunch of work. It's a ton of work, like I mentioned. There's a full textbook you'll read in the 5 weeks, a half of another textbook you'll read in 5 weeks, and then what essentially amounts to selections that equal about a third of the other textbook, third to a half. So
There's 3 books
yeah, so there's 3
Oy.
books. Plus, there's about 9 pages of writing each week.
each week.
Yeah.
Oh my.
You don't want to go on my bachelor's. I'm good.
Like I tell you,
I'm still
this
struggling to write like
Where I
3
am.
pages.
this is the class that that all the students say is more work than we've ever had before in any other class. So,
Wow. There's always so much
yeah,
to do
so
in
that's
5
the one.
weeks,
It
right?
feels like it, and I don't have visibility to all of it, but it feels like the ministry program peaks there. But it's all basically academic trek towards meaning and purpose. And so like you'll have to write like 5 pages in a week, but it'll be on like how has gender identity contributed to who you are, right? Like you could
Yeah.
write for a lot longer than 5 pages
Oh,
on
yeah.
that, right?
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, you're writing 2 pages on poetry from Buddhism.
So it's different papers that are due
Yes.
each week, not
Mhm.
one
So
paper
3
for 9
writing
pages.
Yeah.
assignments.
So there'd be like
Okay.
3 pages. So you'll end up writing like a particular one. You'll write 5 pages on like, what's the role of stability and money in your identity formation, right? And then you'll be writing also 2 pages on a particular piece of Buddhist poetry, and then you'll also be writing like 2 pages on an assignment we did where you tracked all of your spending for a week, right?
Oh, okay.
So there's 3 different assignments.
That wouldn't be a very long
Yeah.
year for me.
Yeah, so there's 3 different assignments that are all sort of getting at a similar sort of, you're reading a Buddhist poem on simplicity, you're talking about, you're analyzing your own financial management, plus you're doing 5 pages on how money and stability contributed to your upbringing, right? So they're all sort of moving you in a direction, but they're taking this thing from 3 different angles. But in the end, it turns out to be 9 pages of writing and maybe 60 pages of reading for that particular week. Students say it's a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of work.
That is
But
a
it's-
lot of work, especially when you're working
Yeah,
on top of.
but it's a lot of like a wonderful work.
I was
So
gonna say, it sounds interesting though.
yeah,
It does.
and that's when
Until we're
When you
in there
said theology,
doing it.
I'm like,
no,
that is awesome.
but I'm telling you, that's not every class in the bachelor's degree program.
Right.
What I hear from students is it is the sort of place where the work peaks. I like that the work peaks at a religion class about spirituality, character, and service, right? Like if your Warner degree is going to mean anything, we really want it to engage your passions and make you think before you leave here, what am I really doing in this crazy world? And so I like that the academic work peaks there. I also like that it's about your journey and who you are and what are you going to be for the world. So it seems crazy now. You also work into that too. You also develop between here and your, and the last year of your bachelor's degree program. You develop also. You get better at writing. You get better at reading. You get better at negotiating those types of questions. I promise you.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, well,
So what internet skills are important for your class?
I don't think there's.
No,
I mean,
no.
you got to learn how to use
Research.
the Moodle accounts and that sort of thing. There's not a lot of the research. It's a lot of interest. It's a lot of the introspection things. It's here's a reading a category. I want you to take it and work it through your own life. There's not a lot of internet research for that class.
that's good.
That's other classes.
Change all the questions here.
Well, that's good, because that makes it a little easier. You can do things of your own accord instead of having to go, what does this one say? And have to cite that and this and that.
It's less internet skills. It's more the interpersonal skills,
Yeah,
right? It's
exactly.
the-
So how long do you stay on each topic in your class?
I don't know how to explain. I mean,
Because it all kind of goes together.
yeah, there's a kind of an evolution of pieces, and so sometimes it's a lot of one thing builds upon the next, which builds upon the next piece. My teaching style is I like to look at things from 2 or 3 different ways and angles, and in sort of different ways. So, in my teaching style, I like if you got to sit there for 4 hours and listen to somebody talk, it's dreadful. I've done it.
Yeah.
So.
That's what we're doing now.
So I like to, so I'm like, let's get on the board and look at this. I've done class literally on the ceiling in adult degree class where they told me I couldn't do this afterwards, where like I put some white paper up to the ceiling and nobody could answer a question until they got on the table and wrote
look
on the
at it.
ceiling. Like, I mean, like whatever it takes to like
Making
get,
it interesting,
yeah,
right?
whatever it takes to be like,
It's boring.
To get
My-
people engaged.
yeah,
Engage,
like-
yeah.
this week I was asking what's the big picture of this textbook, with some of my traditional students. We literally did the whole class while standing on chairs so we could ask what's the big picture of this thing we were talking about. Like, I'll go outside, like we go outside, like 4 hours. I mean, I had 4-hour classes and it was like, I just stood in the back with a hoodie. It was dreadful.
Aw.
So like, I love teaching the 4 hours because it pushes me as a teacher to be able to engage in multiple ways, but I also feel like I can build something in 4 hours.
But you seem like you have personality, though. When the teacher
Yeah, right.
is lacking.
You don't know me that well.
When they're just like,
I'm pretty boring.
When they're just like,
He is not boring. You are not boring, Jess.
Yeah, I just-
Like, and
What do
there's
we
no-
think about
there's
that
no
sentence?
interaction. We're not doing anything.
How could we
Yeah.
rewrite
I
that?
like-
You have to, so,
That's what it feels like. It feels just so. No, oh no, not just him. No, I mean like in general, it's just so slow, and they really want you to sink in. You're like, I can't think of that sentence anymore because it's too slow.
yeah.
I need to go faster, and then I can get it. And some of them go way too fast. I'm like, whoa, slow down. What did we just do? I like when they're engaging and it makes it interesting.
And the one thing I will tell you
It makes it go by
is,
faster.
I give this speech all the time. Be super honest on your evaluations. Like,
Yeah.
I'm speaking with my institutional hat on. Like, I'm institution. I'm a faculty member. I'm a staff member. I've been here for 14 years. Like, you're probably not going to meet anybody at Warner that's more institutional, right? Like, be super honest on your evaluations. Like, I have student voices empower the change that we need to make. So, like, I have seen teachers who no longer teach. I've seen programs that no longer exist. I've seen classes that are done hella better because, like, student feedback is super important. So when you get those opportunities at the end of classes to respond to curriculum and to instruction, please do it. I know you probably, like, are going to hit send and be like, whatever. But the next group of people, it's going to be better for, I promise you. I've seen it. I can tell you, I don't know about any other educational institutions you've been to, but legit student feedback means something in this one. The problem is you don't always see it because it often affects the next folks down the line. But I gotta tell you, do it. So sorry, that was my speech. I'm taking off my institutional hat.
That's good.
Please, for the sake of everyone,
That's good.
be honest on evaluations and do them. Right.
Okay.
Sorry. I owe you more.
So how do you look at plagiarism?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think I was talking about this with some of our traditional students. I think we create a lot of rules because around academic dishonesty and because it's hard to engage the real heart of the matter, which is like do your own original work for this particular class, right? And like I run into situations where there's just a lot of like back doors to doing your own original work for the class, like using peers, using internet sources, like instead of reading the fullness of this, gleaning from a secondary source, like. But the thing I just end up looking students in the face and be like, is this original work you did for this assignment for this course, within this time frame, and and some and that's a pretty easy bar. I mean, in terms of it's not an easy bar to get to if you're overwhelmed, but it's an easy bar of understanding. Did you do original work for this class for this assignment, right? And that's how I look at it a lot of times. I get a lot of like squirmy sort of questions, and I feel like I know right away. Well, what do you mean by me doing the work? It was our team and we, and I'm like, okay, that's not what. Or what do you mean by original? I sort of wrote this for, Bill's class 5 weeks ago, and it really fit the thing for. That's not what I'm saying. Did you do original work for this class? So I get a lot of squirming, but that's sort of usually my filter. My particular religion class, it's hard because you're not gonna you can't copy someone else's real lived experience with,
Right.
how did the geography you grew up in sort of frame your, you can't copy that from somebody. So it's not a real factor a lot in my religion class that I teach for this. We're not asking you to do book reports in that class. You're upper division students by that point. We're not asking you for book reports.
What do you do when you find it?
I try best to stay within the policies of Warner Pacific College. So there's a sort of a direct conversation with the students. This is what I think I'm seeing. Can you affirm what I think I'm seeing? Then there's all that information goes to the academic dean, and there's a system within his office to if they're getting reports from more than one instructor, it's all confidential. So I don't know if that same dynamic's been going on with another instructor, but the academic dean's office does, and so if they can triangulate, then they'll have a conversation with the student if it becomes further of a problem. I just deal with the particulars of the assignment in front of me, say this is what I think. Most recently, I had a print off of somebody's blog. I had their sort of assignment, and it was like, and then it was like, okay, you're not getting credit for that assignment. I'm going to talk to I do log this with the dean. Let's talk about what you want out of this assignment or not want out of this assignment. So
So do you give them a chance to do the assignment again, or does it, the dean makes the decision on what happens?
no, I get control as an instructor. So I will give, generally it comes back to like me. I'm not looking to stick it to nobody. Like I really think the stuff I teach is important. So I'll say, do you want to do this assignment or do you not want to do it?
Mhm.
Like I still think there's value in, in you engaging this piece of Buddhist poetry on simplicity. Like I really want you to do that. Like, I think it could change your life. So I'm going to give you a chance to do the assignment.
How often do you see, that occurred?
I don't see it as often, very often. I think it's just by the nature of the things I teach. I can't even think of in my religion class I teach in the adult degree program. It would be hard for me to identify what assignment could even be. It would be just it would be hard. I mean, I suppose you could sort of copy somebody else's thoughts on a piece of poetry, but it'd be hard for me to think of the assignment that would even work with.
What kind of trends do you see over the years that you've been teaching? That's a
Great
loaded
inflation.
question.
Y'all want A's on everything.
Yeah.
Drives me friggin' nuts.
Everyone wants an A.
Everybody wants an A. Yeah, the trend of like the measurement of whether the measure and evaluation system just drives me nuts. Like I have to, like, the standard now as an instructor is, I'm handing you this assignment, it's an A, you have to tell me why it's not. So any points I take off, I have to justify. And I can't justify it by saying, well, this person friggin' nailed this assignment, and you kind of gave it half effort. Like, I have to detail for you -3 for this reason, -2 for this reason, -3 for this reason, which I guess keeps me honest. But man, it's like doing nitpicky work that, like, I don't want to look at you and be like, your grammar was -3 and I mean, like, I care about what you think about the piece of Buddhist poetry. I don't give anything if you wrote 3 pages and the assignment was 4, right? And the assignment said 4. So the biggest trend I see is students believe they start with an A and you got to justify downward, as opposed to like average work is a C, above average is a B, and you knock me out, you get an A. That's the biggest trend I see. And I think it's a good journey for some people if you've gotten A's your whole thing to get that B and like have to deal with what it means to you, like the interpersonal, like the internal struggle for that. Like it's okay. Like you don't have to be perfect. Like a B's a hell of a grade. So I think it's good for people to get like for certain like people who are approaching their education in a certain way to have to deal with.
Because I got my first C+ and almost like had a heart attack. Like I almost started hyperventilating because I wasn't
And you are still
expecting it.
you.
And I was looking at it and I'm like, I just felt like I let myself down.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything
So-
about you that's beautiful is still beautiful the next day, even with the C.
No, but I didn't want a C in anything. I just,
Yeah.
But it
same.
was my own fault. I take ownership.
Scary.
I had to,
Yeah.
do some self-talk.
So I honestly, like, I need to listen better, because I honestly don't understand that as, like, maybe it was my background as a student. I knew I wasn't a good student, so I was gonna, like, everything was work, and I was like, if I didn't fail things, I was like, I don't know what it is, but like that idea of like that internal pressure, that real, and y'all live it, like that real internalized pressure to have perfect grades. It's real for y'all. I get it, and I have sat across from students just really, really upset at me that they didn't get the grade, and
what can I do to make that grade
Yeah.
an A? What can I do
Yeah, right.
to make it an
and I
A?
either say I'm not gonna let you do anything, or the answer I'm giving you is not gonna satisfy you, but here's what I think.
I think it's
So-
kind of an internal mental thing.
That's,
Yeah.
it's just all internal.
If I look at it like that, I'm the same way. I want that A. But I've learned over the course of since I've started school that, you kind of go, well, what did I take away from the class?
Yeah.
And that's more important than that A. But at the same time, it's like when you see something that's not an A, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Because
I don't
you
even
know
have
you're
to have an
learning
A.
from that.
I just don't want anything below a B at
Mhm,
all.
yeah.
Like, so when I have
I think that's fine.
plus,
And so here's
I would probably like
here's the
2
rub,
points
right?
away from
So I
it.
tell you, I teach the class that has 9 pages of writing and 60 pages of reading a week, and some of your guys' lives are not going to accommodate that. So I think it's a very, very spiritually, like, formative conversation I have with students that say, you're not going to do all that stuff. Okay, so
You'll
what?
probably be happy for a C once you get to
Like,
that.
Yeah, right.
like,
As long as I'm not failing.
Choose, are you going to spend Saturday with your kids, or are you going to do the homework for my class? And if you choose
That's
Saturday with your
awesome.
kids, that's probably a better choice. We'll all get to see together, and I'll high five you on the way out, and I'm the first person you pass on stage at graduation, and we'll fist bump and live in
my
freedom,
gosh, that's
right?
funny.
Like, I have that conversation all the time, but it's like, I
They
deserve to
can't
spend
handle it,
Saturday
though.
with my kids, and I deserve to get an A in your class. And I tell you, that's just not real. That's just not reality.
Right.
It's just not reality. Be with your kids, take the C. I'll hug you on stage, because you're still going to get there. I am the first person you pass at graduation. I sit on stage.
Aw,
I
yay.
try not to fall asleep, and I sit like this,
Cool.
because I was told I was joking around too much.
They smack you upside the
me and
head.
the director, she just walked by. She's amazing. She and I sit next to each other, and I try to make her laugh. But
Aw.
but I do. I'll sit next to her, like hugs and fist bumps to all my
That's
ADP
cute.
students as they walk by.
Nice.
So it's fun.
You totally deserve that.
Totally.
And some of them chose to be with their kids on Saturday and get a C out of my class.
Well, tell them to stay up till 3 in the morning and do their paper, and they can still do that too.
Or
Yeah,
you
to
can
have
sit
some
in your
stamina.
room and your child can help you
Yes.
with your paper.
Yeah.
Bryson did that with me once.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, Mom, I'm going to edit.
Aw.
Okay, and he sat at the foot of my bed.
Hopefully my kids are 14. They'll help me with my grading. I'll tell you, because that class takes over my life, grading. Oof.
Wow. Yikes. That's so intense. What's the rest of it?
So, what is the most important lesson you try and teach your students? You kind of just said some of it. I mean,
Said some in there already.
Yeah.
Because I teach a meaning and purpose class, because I teach it in religion, because I teach it from the vantage point that I do, the biggest lesson from the class, the thing that I think more than anything typifies like what my sort of life, like the message of my life and teaching has been about, is like the core of the pain that has brought you to this place is the ground of healing you have to offer the world. And invariably my classes seem to come back to that,
can you
especially
say
that,
that again?
like, the core place of the pain of your life, like whatever those things are that have sort of derailed, that have made you question most, like, who am I, what am I doing here? Like those core tragedies that like you didn't choose but you got. Like that is the place you have to offer of healing to the world. And like getting like these these long assignments for that Religion 320 class that's talking about like gender identity, or how did money, or how did the geography you grew up, or how did religion, like oftentimes invariably like at some point it's like this is the story. I mean, and you guys will experience this if you're with each other long enough. Like a 2-year or 4-year program is enough to engage the real life tragedy of each other's lives.
Mhm.
Like the last one I taught, she lost a child like 3 weeks before the class started, right? And we're supposed to do this. Like we're supposed to be asking questions like what's life about, right? And so invariable, like the course I teach, your real lived story, and whatever it is, like the questions get asked about it, right? Sometimes it's like childhood stuff. Sometimes it's like stuff that's happened in adulthood or the transition of adulthood, and it's everything from like I've had recovered hardcore drug users. I've had situations of like extreme sexual abuse as children. I've had like extreme dislocate, like whatever. Like, and because of the place I come from as a minister in the Christian faith and the Christian story, like, and I think the curriculum of the class reflects it. Like as we get a handle on that, that stuff is the core of what we have to offer the world in healing. And it doesn't mean like I get fully over my stuff, but it means like allowing others into that pain and allowing that to not kill me but be a motivator. That is what that invariably comes out, and it's true for my own life. It seems to be the story that the trick story that God tells on the world. Like, I will redeem your pain, and you will have something to offer the world through it. And that just, it feels like that's the truth that my life keeps coming back to, and it comes out in my teaching, it comes out in the curriculum. And so connecting people back to that is often difficult, and I understand why people don't want to go there. But people might not go there in the course of the 5 weeks I'm with them, but I believe invariably in their lives they will come back to it. Sorry, that got all heavy real quick.
All right.
That's what that question was all about, right?
Yeah. Anything we missed?
We didn't ask, apart from the rubric, what criteria do you look for in a paper?
That's a great question. I'm not real smart, but I can tell investment.
You are.
I can tell investment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can follow the rubric to a T, and you can be completely disinterested in that assignment. Or you may not have the capacity to ever live into the fullness of that rubric, and you can give it your all. I still grade from the rubric because I feel like I got to justify every point to students, but sometimes I'm way more impressed with something that lives up to half a rubric rather than students that can check every box in an assignment, and I tell them right up front, there's 5 weeks I don't have enough time to teach you what I want out of a paper, so I'm going to go by the rubric, exactly by the syllabus. Like, I'm hardcore staying with the syllabus and the rubrics because you just don't have time in 5 weeks to learn, and I just think it's only fair, right?
Yeah.
But there are times where I say, this is a B paper according to the rubric, but the best one I read, hands down. Thank you, right? Or there's times where it's like, I say the other thing, where like, this paper was sufficient to the rubric, you got your A, congratulations. There's still so much more I would have loved to have read.
Yeah, it just seems they're just so short. The weeks are just so,
Yep.
this is like 3 times the work, and it's really hard to try to remember what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a blur.
All the work is just like gone for the next
Yeah.
class. What was the last class?
Yeah.
What did I learn from that?
I think it depends on what you're
I
learning.
just feel like it's just gone.
I
Yeah.
took a
So
lot
fast.
from interpersonal communication.
Well, I did. Yeah.
I took a lot from that class.
I did
Yeah.
take a lot from it. It was just because I think I learned a lot about myself that I thought I had already knew, but at the same time, it was just overwhelming
It was overwhelming.
and
I cried a lot.
draining.
In that class.
Right. It was just draining.
lot.
Like, yeah.
I just feel like we kept going. We could just keep going and going and going and
Yeah.
more to learn, but there's just so much you can get in 5 weeks. It's just so short a time
Yeah.
than I'm used to doing at a regular school, like wherever.
Yeah, figuring out mementos for yourself or something, like stuff you're gonna keep, papers you're gonna keep.
Just giving her an idea.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do
Gave
that
her
in
an
break
idea
time.
about just doing like a little
Stressed.
summary at the end.
Yeah,
You know, what did I learn in this class, kind of thing, and keep
Yeah.
it
I'm gonna
in
do that.
one of the folders. 'Cause 2 years down the line, when you have to do your thing,
2 years. I already
gonna
forgot
be
my
like,
first few
"What?"
classes. I'm in trouble.
but
But yeah.
it's good. Summaries are good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's
I think
everything.
we-
Do you
yeah,
guys
I
have anything else you want to
Is
add?
this the one about how he uses the internet?
I crossed off the rest of the internet questions.
I just don't,
because-
that's just not a
Because
good
the students didn't really need to do research like we've been doing.
Yeah.
So is that asking how he uses it
He said he
efficiently?
doesn't.
But you don't have to because it's going out of the books, right? Out of the curriculum. So you don't really have to.
There's
You
not a lot.
personally, like,
I mean,
you
I,
don't
I,
have
That's
to.
a lot.
I show
Besides
videos and make
grading.
you watch movies and that sort of, but nothing's like, I'm not asking like,
Not like all the other stuff we're doing.
yeah.
Like
As
all
a
the
matter of fact,
internet
I tell
sites
students
and
in
all the other
class,
books and
like,
magazines.
put down the laptops. You're not gonna be taking tons of
That's
notes.
good.
Like, this is
I
a
like that.
process. You know, if
I
the
like
students
that
are
a
on their laptops, it's because they're doing something else. They're not paying attention to my class. So I'm like, just don't even bring it or whatever.
Well, that's really
Wasn't that what he was asking for? He says, "What are you doing on here?" So funny. Like, I'm taking notes.
Which half
Everybody's on their
I
laptop.
don't blame y'all because like if I feel like there's a
Might be watching a basketball game.
yeah I feel like the onus is on
Because I
me
think
to
there's
keep
one
your
on
interest,
tonight.
which takes I know and I you know
I
I think
know.
it's onus on everybody to be responsible, but I kind of like the challenge of like
what am I gonna do to get this?
That's
I got
so
4
funny.
hours, I got 3.5 hours, I can do anything I want to get this 20 across.
That's awesome.
Here we go.
Here we go.
That's
Um,
funny. I like that.
So I think it's a ton of fun. think
I
it's a
like
ton of fun.
lively teachers, so hopefully we'll get you in the future.
I think that's why I
That's
like
neat.
Hannah so much.
Because
Yes.
she had,
Even though it was
missed
written
out.
communication 1, she still like kept us engaged.
Yeah,
It was-
and
it was
that's brilliant.
amazing.
Like,
She
if
was
you can do that with
incredible.
written communication 1, I teach a class on meaning and purpose. I better be
She,
able
she
to
has her
make
PhD.
this fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
Yeah,
I
that's
missed
what
out on a
everybody
good one.
says.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You wait till you get her. You are gonna love her.
See, if you can do that with writing 1, that's real brilliance. What I do is, I mean, I teach meaning and purpose. Like we got to be able to ask questions in important ways. But man, that's cool. If you can do that with writing 1,
Yeah.
you're special.
yeah, she was pretty cool, and she lectured like
Aw.
most of the time, so it wasn't like we were, we just wanted to listen to more
Yeah,
what she,
she
was
was
saying.
Yeah.
funny.
She was
had a
great.
sense of humor.
Yeah, and she was
Mhm.
dry,
And
but
her-
really awesome, and
Like
She
her,
had like an edge.
yeah,
to
the
her.
way her facial expressions, the right?
Yeah.
Doesn't she do that?
I'm gonna take you
That's
for
funny.
10 more seconds back to the evaluation question. Like, that's your standard. Like, as you're trying to like fill out like your end of the class evaluations and things, be like, I need professors with a little more personality. I need folks who are gonna teach in these types of ways. Like, be very specific. Like, think back to who's nailed it, and be like, this
Yeah.
is what I want, and be really clear and really specific. But it's a gift to the institution and to the people who come after you. I promise you. Okay.
It
Done
always
with
feels
that
so
lecture.
weird. Like, you don't want to say negative things. Like, I know I wrote this.
1, your grade's already turned in. 2, they don't know.
I know.
You are fine,
I know.
girl.
They're gonna look at me
And
and
I
mean mug
honestly-
me down
and
the
all
hallway
my-
like
all
you.
my evaluations, I sift through them and I go, he's funny, he's good looking, he's whatever. all things like and then I say, and then it was like, boy, I look for the ones that are negative, and I'm like, okay, give me that. That was
Give me
great. Like I
Because you
look for the
learn from
critical.
it. That's
I look
great.
for the critical ones
Mhm.
sooner. I get a lot of like the reverse, like I get a lot of like anyway yeah, so I look for my critiques.
That's great. Okay, I'll let you go. It's 1:45.
Yeah,
It's really
you
fun to
do.
meet you guys.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm so excited you're in Christy's cohort. I think the world of her. She's kind of one of my sheroes.
Aw.
Aw,
So-
that's cute.
So I'm just totally stoked.
How
So,
did
That's amazing.
did you have a good cohort when you were?
I never went through the
'cause it
adult
was-
degree program.
Oh, so it's totally
Yeah,
different.
the cohort learning I did was a little bit in my doctoral program,
Hmm.
and I totally didn't do that well.
Mm.
I didn't do that well.
So when you come to Warner, like just fresh out of high school, is it like, are they big classes? Are
No.
they? Oh, okay.
Real
So
small.
they're still small classes.
That isn't like
Yeah.
university
You just
status.
don't do like, you don't have like the learning team. Do you get none of that?
No,
Oh,
but just a
interesting.
traditional school, and they have chapel and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you been to the main campus?
Mm-mm.
It's so
You
pretty.
should go over there. It's really
It's
nice.
just down the road.
I like
isn't
it.
Yeah,
It's on like
so-
68th and
68th,
Division?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're heading up
Okay.
Mount
Ooh, it's
Tabor.
over by Mero Mole. Yeah,
Ooh.
we'll go that way.
Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't do the cohort learning. I did some of my doctoral program, but I wasn't very good at it.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I didn't get to do the cohort thing, which is totally fun. Well, a lot of times the cohort,
pressure off
Yeah.
a little bit.
and I always ask my first question when I get into class, like, what's your cohort like? Tell me your personality. Because some are like, business, like, don't try to joke with us, we're here to get.
Oh,
Others of
see,
them
our
like,
cohort is,
Yeah.
we
Others are
want
fools of
laughter.
We're a bunch of
and funny
goofballs, like-
and-
We
Yeah.
all get along really well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Like a little
just-
miniature family.
Yeah.
I have someone who start picking on me from the jump, and then it's like, that makes me happy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes. So,
All right.
It was great to meet
cohort
you guys.
changes all the
Yeah,
time.
thank
Nice to
you.
meet
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
thanks for
you.
choosing me for this.
Thank you.
Like,
It's amazing.
Totally fun.
It's up to
so
her.
much for
Thanks,
come.
Christy.
We left it up to her. She's like, I got a couple. I was like, okay.
Yeah, she knows about the three of us that teach
'Cause
over here.
I can never get a hold of the other ones that we've had, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
That's pretty
That's
stoked that Jess is
amazing.
coming.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I need to go find sugar.
It's
for
great to
my
meet you.
coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, fun to
Thank
meet you.
you.
I think I'll walk
I
down
gave
to the-
Allie the notes so
Oh,
she can
okay.
type up the